Appropriate office policies and well-planned procedures are the major for running an efficient and smooth medical practice. However, goals cannot be achieved solely by just developing rules. The entire medical team must make them happen. There is a minor difference between an office procedure and an office policy. A policy is a primary statement, guideline, or principle covering a limited aspect on which the medical practice operates to achieve its objectives. On the other hand, a procedure is a more specific system or method, limited in its scope, by which a policy will be designed. It explains how certain tasks are to be conducted. Office policies may vary greatly depending on the practice size, staff potential capabilities, and the personal philosophy of the healthcare provider involved. Each healthcare provider chooses those policies and procedures that fit best to the provider's training, work routines, time, and work habits. Daily routines. Opening routines. Regardless of the practice size, every medical office has daily routines for opening and closing times to run the practice smoothly, professionally, and efficiently. The medical administrative assistant should arrive in the morning before the arrival of patients so that proper arrangements can be made for arriving patients. Many activities can be accomplished at this morning's time that would be extremely hard when rushed. For example, proper air conditioning, lighting, and ventilation can be assessed. The rooms can be well prepared for patients, telephone calls can be answered, service messages can be replied to, and equipment assessment can be made. Additionally, office correspondence can be sorted and classified, case files can be pulled in the correct order of their appointments, and minor tasks of the previous day can be completed. Midday routines. The organization and cleanliness of all rooms should be checked frequently. The reception area and examination or treatment rooms deserve special attention, as these have the greatest traffic. Appropriate arrangements should be made to disinfect clinical instruments after each use. Closing routines. A medical administrative assistant may have the task of looking that the office is closed properly at the end of each day. Patients who are not able to arrive earlier may be contacted late in the day. Supply shelves should be restocked and equipment required for the next day should be evaluated properly. All equipment should be dusted or wiped, and clinical instruments should be kept in a sterilizer. All records, supplies, and instruments should be paced back to their storage place. Anything that needs servicing or repair should be noted. Workstations should be organized or cleared for the next working day. Petty cash should be kept in a safe place. Important vaults, desk drawers, cabinets, and files that contain locks should be secured. All doors and windows that exit to the outside should be checked and locked. The last activities are generally to notify the telephone answering service that the office is going to close, arrange delivery of lab specimens, deposit the day's receipts, and mail the day's correspondence. Office records. Every office needs an array of communications and other records, but the specific types of reports and records essential for an office depend upon the nature of the medical practice. Types. There are two major types of records: administrative and clinical records. Administrative records are related to the business aspect of the practice. These records aid in scheduling, evaluating practice growth, financial control, and recording data for business and tax purposes. Administrative records should always be placed separately from clinical records because the concerned parties accessing accounting records have no legal right to access confidential clinical information. Clinical records are related to the healthcare aspects of the practice. The patient's history, findings, initial as well as progressive, diagnosis, the treatment recommended and extended, summaries of clinical findings, the patient's progress record, patient consents, and treatments provided by outside consultants or facilities are included in the clinical records. Greeting patients. First impressions. First impressions are usually considered as long-lasting. It should be remembered that the medical office staff has only one chance to create a positive first impression on patients and other healthcare providers. The perception of a patient about the medical office is based on the positive first impression from the office staff. A negative patient's perception can adversely affect the health of the patient. On the other hand, a positive perception may develop a successful doctor-patient relationship. Patients who feel confident and positive about their relationship with physicians are likely to follow the clinical recommendations and treatment regimens. Welcome patients and visitors. The medical administrative assistant should make every attempt to greet patients personally and by name, e.g., "Good afternoon, Ms. Laura." A delightful and cheerful greeting increases a positive image along with making the patient feel welcome. The CMAA should try to remember some personal things about each patient, such as pets, hobbies, or special interests about which she can ask. In some cases, the CMAA will not be at her desk when a patient arrives. Therefore, she should always check the waiting rooms for new arrivals frequently upon her return. Many medical offices install a chime or a bell on the door to post a sign asking patients to check in with the receptionist. Manage waiting time. Patients expect to be attended to timely at the appointed time without unnecessary delays. They have assigned time in their schedule to visit and see the doctor, and obviously, they do not want to be kept waiting for long hours. One of the main complaints of patients is the amount of time they must wait to meet the physician. The CMAA should make sure to guide the patients if the physician is late and behind schedule. If the CMAA is expecting the wait to be more than 30 minutes past the scheduled time, she should offer to wait for patients some choices. Some patients may choose to leave and return in an hour, and some may select to reschedule their appointment later for another time. Telephone etiquette. A telephone call should be attended courteously and professionally. Following proper telephone etiquette with socially accepted guidelines for using the telephone includes saying, "Thank you," and "Please," and permitting the caller to speak. The caller may perceive abruptness, interruptions, or discourteous attitude as not just rude but also unprofessional. Enunciation is the practice to pronounce words clearly with a speed that is suitable for the listener to hear and understand the message, which is extremely necessary for clear communication. Using appropriate pronunciation, the universally accepted sound of words, also aids the recipient understands the provided message. Pronunciation should be in a way that is according to the region to help the listener understand the message. A medical administrative assistant who moves from Houston to Boston will need to change how she pronounces words according to the region to manage the difference in regional accents. Additionally, the medical administrative assistant should try to avoid using jargons, which are abbreviations or clinical terms that the patient might not be aware of, so that the patient will easily understand the provided message. A medical administrative assistant who uses medical jargon may intimidate recipients and may cause them to avoid asking any questions that might help in comprehension. As with medical terms, the medical administrative assistant should avoid using unconventional and slang words or phrases to explain clinical conditions, because it can be difficult to understand the true meaning of these words for the patient. When answering the phone calls, the medical administrative assistant should speak slowly, clearly, in a pleasant tone, and at an understandable volume. The patient calling the medical office should never feel that he or she is interrupting the staff work and that the medical administrative assistant is very busy addressing her concerns and questions. The caller should feel that the medical administrative assistant answering the call has an empathy that is a comprehensive understanding of the caller's needs and emotions. Placing calls on hold. If the medical administrative assistant wants to place a caller on hold to talk to a patient at the front desk or to answer another line, she should request the caller if she may put the patient on hold, just like, "Can you hold for a while, please?" Although most patients will agree to be placed on hold, the medical administrative assistant must wait for the response of the caller before putting her on hold. A caller may reply, "Can you hold for a while, please?" The medical administrative assistant must then triage the call to evaluate emergency status. The CMAA must never put a caller on hold who replies to her as there is an emergency condition. Making outgoing calls. When making outgoing calls, the CMAA should identify the caller just as she would when receiving a call. After identification, the CMAA should then speak to the patient. Speaking to an individual without confirming her identity may result in a breach of privacy or confidentiality. Discussions about personal or medical information on the phone are protected under HPCT rules. The medical administrative assistant can continue the call only when he or she is fully sure of the recipient's identity. Ending calls. At the end of a phone call, the CMAA should repeat important information or instructions from the caller, such as appointment time and date confirmation or other patient instructions. Patient understanding of the phone call will make sure proper follow-up care. Time zones. Patients will usually live in a similar time zone as the medical office, but clinical supplies and vendors of the medical office, insurance organizations, or HMO accrediting agencies may be situated various states away, so the medical administrative assistant should be well aware of multiple time zones and must take into account office hours in those regions. Call handling. Appointment scheduling, billing, and insurance questions, and driving directions can be answered by the medical administrative assistant. Clinical questions related to the diagnosis and management should be handled by a registered nurse or physician. Because the CMAA is usually the first person who responds to the phone calls, therefore, deciding who needs to talk with the patient will be her primary responsibility. Creating correspondence. One of the most important responsibilities of a medical administrative assistant in the medical office is written communication. Clear, short, comprehensive, and professional communications represent the professionalism of the medical administrative assistant as well as the medical office. Correspondence to attorneys, referring physicians, patients, and insurance carriers should be carefully composed and mailed in an efficient and timely manner. To make sure professionalism, the medical administrative assistant should edit and proofread these communications, involving proper checking for correct spelling, grammar, punctuation, appropriate word choice, and sentence structure. HPCT guidelines must be followed when selecting faxes, letters, and email as the suitable form of written communication. Privacy and confidentiality of written communications are extremely crucial to safeguard a patient's clinical as well as financial information. Business letters. The business letter is a method of written communication that is used when a formal document is required. Copies of business letters to patients, attorneys, or referring physicians should be kept in the patient file. Writing a business letter. To write a professional business letter, the CMAA should follow these 3 steps. 1. Preparation. 2. Composition. 3. Editing and proofreading. 1. Preparation. Good preparation is a basic component of professional business letters. Preparation usually involves planning the written content and the mechanics of the letter. Mental preparation. Before composing a business letter, there should be mental preparation of the message. Mental preparation has 3 major benefits. It helps remove writer's block. It helps get focus on the message, rather than the mechanics, e.g., grammar, spelling, punctuation. It increases organization. Mechanics of the letter. Before starting writing the letter, the suitable template, margin, and font should be set. The major elements should be already set spaced correctly, so the writer should just type the particular information. 2. Composition. The primary goal of composition is to make sure that the message is transmitted in a clear, short, comprehensive, and accurate manner. A clear and concise message makes sure that the reader knows what is expected. On the other hand, an unclear message always leaves doubts in the reader's mind. 3. Editing and proofreading. After the composition of the letter, the final step is editing and proofreading for both grammatical errors and factual information. Editing and proofreading are considered the key elements in making a letter successful. During this final step, the following items should be checked carefully: accuracy and authenticity of all information, spelling, clarity and conciseness, grammar, punctuation, capitalization, logical organization and flow. Applying proper postage. After the document has been composed, edited, proofread, and signed, it is ready to share with its receiver. The letter should be folded in thirds to place in an envelope. Most professional business letters are posted through the postal service. Other forms of written communications are shared through fax machines or by email. Below are 2 main steps to follow when making any type of written correspondence. All steps should be taken to ensure patient privacy and confidentiality. The outer side of envelopes should be highlighted as confidential when the correspondence contains any type of file. Letters should only be sent to known or confirmed addresses. Return addresses should be used so that mail can be returned if the recipient is no longer available at the provided address. Other types of communication. Fax documents. Faxing documents that have FI poses a great risk of inappropriate disclosure. While it is allowed to transfer data via fax, the CMAA should 1. Double-check the fax number before sending a document. 2. Double-check for authorization to release the information. Incoming faxes that have FI should be taken from the machine and filed properly as soon as possible. Leaving FI in a fax machine violates HPCT rules and poses the risk that the documents will be lost. Internal marketing. It is a way for reminding patients to come into the medical office for their care. For example, patients may forget to schedule routine appointments. Patients may be unaware of a new physician or any new service in the practice. Internal marketing informs them about the addition of any new physician or new services he/she will offer. Email guidelines. It is an informal way of correspondence. No FI should be shared in an email message outside of the physician's office or hospital because the identification of the recipient cannot be confirmed. Email within a physician's office or hospital can be considered private. If the medical administrative assistant has a friendly or family relationship with the recipient, he/she should use the personal email account for informal and non-business communication. Professional and business email accounts should only be used for professional email communication. Basic computer skills. Computer plays a key role in the medical office. Computers are used for both administrative and clinical tasks in the medical office. Some examples of administrative tasks are appointment scheduling, staff scheduling, insurance fillings, and medical billings. Clinical softwares are useful in many areas, such as reading labs and radiology reports and helping the provider to prescribe medications. Computers also facilitate communication among different healthcare providers and ease access to new care options. The CMAA will need good computer skills to perform both clinical and administrative tasks. The computer. A typical computer system can be divided into two areas, i.e. hardware and peripherals. Hardware. Computer hardware is composed of 7 major elements. CPU, Central Processing Unit. The CPU consists of a number of magnetic and electronic cells. These cells can read, assess, and process data and guide the computer on how to operate a provided program. CPU has multiple different ports to connect the mouse, printer, and speakers. Keyboard. It is the primary way through which information or data is entered into the computer. Along with the typical number and letter keys, one may find special function keys like Alt, Control, Insert, and ESC to provide increased capabilities. Monitor. It is also known as the Visual Display Terminal, which comes in multiple different sizes and qualities. The quality of the image mainly depends on the DPIs, dots per inch. There are also adjustment dials for contrast as well as brightness. Hard drive. It provides proper storage for programs, softwares, data, and files. The hard drive capacity is measured in gigabytes or megabytes. Printer. It is used to transfer information onto paper, hard copy. They use various technologies to print in either black or color. The printer allows printing letters, bills, and daily schedules. Scanner. A scanner allows taking pictures or reports and reading them into the computer. The CMAA may scan lab reports, discharge summaries, and radiology reports into a patient's file. This is extremely helpful when a new patient comes with reports from a previous healthcare provider. Secondary storage systems. There are multiple methods for saving data in computers. Cartridges are generally used by healthcare facilities for large storage systems. When saving any information or data, it should be remembered that proper organization skills are necessary. Files should be named appropriately and should be placed in the properly identified folders. Peripherals. Computers may have various peripheral connections. 3 major computer peripherals that a CMAA needs to know are: mouse. It is used to control the cursor on the monitor. Although one cannot type in words and letters using the mouse, he/she can delete or move characters, letters, words, or entire blocks of text with it. Battery backup. It allows the computer system to operate in the case of a power failure. Batteries come in several sizes based on the size of the computer and the work to be done during a power failure. Modem. It is a communication device to connect one computer with other computers, including the internet, electronic mail systems, and online services like bulletin boards. Modems can also be connected with cable systems or through the phone. DSL. digital subscriber line, is the most suitable method. To use a DSL connection or cable, the computer must contain an Ethernet interface card or Ethernet port. Internet basics. Most medical offices are connected to the Internet. The Internet is also used for both administrative and clinical purposes. Getting started and connected. The Internet is the primary tool for access to the www, World Wide Web, and electronic mail. For getting connected and started, one needs an Internet connection company along with appropriate Internet software. There are three primary options that a computer can connect to the Internet. First is an Internet Service Provider, ISP, which is a company that connects the computer's modem to the Internet via the phone line. This is the slowest service method but is the cheapest. The second way is through cable television company that provides a better connection. The third way is a DSL, digital subscriber line, which is the fastest connection. However, it is an expensive connection system and is not available in all regions. Security. If a person selects correct sites and follows some general safety rules, the Internet is a safe option to receive and share patient information. Following are some tips. Files should never be sent over the Internet to a site that does not have an SSL, secure sockets layer. A lock icon should be looked for on the status bar. Some limits should be set on the web browser for cookies. Viruses. Protection from viruses is a crucial security issue. A virus can destroy the important files and software programs saved in the computer or even on the hard drive. Most computers have virus inbuilt protection software. However, no virus protection software is 100% guaranteed. The following are some ways that can protect the computer. The CMAA should not open any files or attachments that are from suspicious or unknown sources. Virus protection software should be updated regularly. HPCT rules for eFi. The HPCT rules and regulations provide the standard guidelines for the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the electronic file. Confidentiality. It means non-disclosure of eFi without proper patient authorization. Integrity. It ensures that eFi is only accessed by appropriate and authorized parties. Availability. It allows patients to access their eFi as recommended by HPCT security standards. HPCT standards to protect eFi security. Administrative safeguards. They include policies and guidelines to protect patient information. Administrative safeguards might take the form of appointing a security official whose job it is to develop office-wide guidelines, enforce those guidelines, and train employees on HPCT regulations. Physical safeguards for eFi security. These are actual physical protections to protect workplace equipment, electronic systems, and patient data. Physical safeguards for eFi security may include limiting physical access to healthcare facilities while still making sure that authorized access is permitted. Implementing guidelines and policies that specify appropriate use, removal, transfer, and disposal of electronic media. Technical safeguards for eFi security. These refer to the automated process for employees to access patient data, e.g. login passwords, credentials, and other authentication methods.